The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Daren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up on today's show, we'll update you with the latest in politics. Afterwards, the South Bronx is open for business. We're going to tell you about a networking event for business owners. Join over 40 exhibitors and networks with government agencies, prime contractors, and small businesses. You also have an opportunity to meet with some government procurement representatives and much more. And after that, September is right around the corner, and this means it's time for Fashion Week. We're going to give you a quick look on what's happening in Bronx Fashion Week, so stay with us. Then, developing our youth is the key to a better future. We're going to tell you about some workshops and events that Casita Maria has prepared for this fall. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way, because right now we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I'm your host, Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, August 29th. You're watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We also want to encourage you to watch Manhattan. Manhattan Neighborhood Network is also being seen, as Open is now being broadcast live simultaneously on MNN's channel, so we welcome our MNN viewers there. We also encourage you to stay connected to us. And how do you do that? Well, you can find out more about us on Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Well, a lot has certainly been going on throughout this past week. We take you now to some Bronx updates. Well, funeral services are now being held today for Arizona State Senator John McCain. McCain's body will lie in state at the Arizona Capitol in Phoenix today. After that, his body will be brought back to Washington, where he'll lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. There'll also be a full funeral service for him at the Washington National Cathedral, where former U.S. Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama will be delivering the eulogy. McCain, a war hero, survived 5 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam, served 3 decades in Congress, and went on to become the Republican Party's nominee for president in 2008. He was diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer in July of 2017. Well, car theft, excessive wait times for the BX10 bus, unpaved streets. Residents contend with a diverse set of ills on a regular basis. But there's a particular issue plaguing some people living in a serene enclave just south of Wave Hill. It is something one would not imagine in this day and age: frequent power outages. Elizabeth Cook Levy, who lives on West 247th Street, says she and some of her neighbors suffer from such outages several times a month. In fact, losing power is more of a weekly event now, something that's persisted for years. Some of her neighbors are even considering investing in generators. But the bigger question is, why can't Con Edison stop the outages from happening? The August 11th blackout wasn't how Cook Levy and her neighbors preferred to spend their Saturday, spurring some to refloat the idea of dropping thousands of dollars on a generator. Unlike the significantly more severe outages caused by this past winter storms, these shorter ones are something more of a mystery. It's an issue that affects not just businesses and quality of life, but property values as well. Con Ed did do a preliminary check of records on the area near West 247th Street and Independence Avenue, and indeed found 2 recent outages, one on June 20th and August 11th in an event, and that was given by spokesperson Alan Drury. Now, both were caused by down wires, the more recent one because of a toppled tree. James Den, Public Information Officer for the Public Service Commission, and spokesperson James Den also said that the regulatory agency wasn't aware the Riverdale area was having these problems, but providing residents safe and reliable service is a fundamental component of their work, and they'll review the situation on West 247th Street. Also, Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, he advocated burying power lines as a potential solution to future outages. While he wasn't aware of what was happening to Cook Levy and her neighbors, spokesperson Brendan Fitzpatrick said that means calling out Con Ed when appropriate, while urging also other residents to call on Assemblyman Dinowitz when power fails. In the area as well, Rabbi Thomas Gardner notes his Independent Avenue Synagogue, Riverdale Temple, was also affected by the August 11th outage. While other very small outages have hit the temple in the past, still Gardner contemplates the outage with equanimity. Well, that concludes our Bronx updates. We want you to stay with us. We've got more open coming up. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.
I guess sometimes things just happen. Devastating things. Your whole world changes in an instant. That's what happened to me the day my mother had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Our political analyst Lee Bynes comes back to talk, recapping our top story, the passing of Arizona Senator John McCain, and also the Trump reaction to McCain's death. And joining us now, Lee Bynes. Good to have you, bro.
Well, you know what? I believe his reaction was a non-reaction, and that kind of caused a lot of commotion as the rest of the country has been. There's been an outpouring of respect and for what he did militarily, for what he did politically in the country. You know, a lot of people say he's a hero. I agree with that statement. And for the president to poo-poo it simply because of the fact that they had issues between them, I don't know, seemed rather small. Mm-hmm. But moving forward in Arizona, let's face it, we do have to move forward. His spot is going to have to be replaced, and they're in the process of doing that right now. And then there was a major election, primary in Arizona yesterday. And it looks as though that they may be able to find a moderate to fill his spot as opposed to going with one of the a hardcore. He had three representatives in that race. Sheriff Aparo was one of them. Mm-hmm. And if you know his background and what he's been standing for, he only got 20%, and that was like a plus for those with sense.
Let's talk about Washington lawmakers for a minute, because they were talking about the renaming of a building after the senator. Some people felt it was too early. Some people felt the senator should be honored, but not necessarily at the building. Your thoughts? Well,
you know what? I'm not sure that that was like the best idea, but in response to Trump's response, I think the nation wants to do something to let him and let his family know that they respect the contributions that he made. So I believe it was Senator Schumer who actually initiated that. And we'll see where it goes, because a lot of people are saying, well, the left are jumping on all of the positiveness about him just to kind of like make the Republicans look bad. But no, it's a positive thing to do. And if anybody deserves it, it's him.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about midterm elections, which are right around the corner. Obviously, you've got the president still trying to do some backpedaling. You've got Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney, now saying that his job was simply to discredit Robert Mueller.
And quite frankly, he's been doing a very, very good job of it. Up until now, he's turned this thing from a legal matter into a political matter, and the more dirt that he can throw on Robert Mueller's and his investigation, the more they can gin up a lot of Donald Trump's base. But if we just go back and look at what we saw happen last week after the conviction of Manafort, the guilty plea of Michael Cohen, the people who got a pass if they'll work with the Mueller investigation.
Immunity is what you mean.
Right, and got immunity to work with the Mueller investigation. It seems to me that there is a degree of criminality operating out of the White House and the people that are surrounding the president right now. That's literally second to none. And I'm tired of using the word unprecedented, because right now we're seeing some major issues coming down in the future. Now, this investigation, as you mentioned, Giuliani has been pushing for this thing to be over, and force Mueller to provide his report, an assessment on what's been going on as soon as possible. But that, I think that investigation still has some legs to go, and there's a lot more people that need to be spoken to. So if they have to table any public action until after the elections, then that's probably what's going to happen, but it is not going to be over by any stretch.
So let's ask the question, does this rattle anything in the midterm elections? I mean, we saw a big win in Florida yesterday, you know, a huge win in the Democratic primary, and now you've got some other questions that are being asked as to whether or not all of this that's happening in Washington, D.C. will actually trigger a big blue response in a couple of weeks.
Well, you know what? I'm anticipating a blue wave coming, but again, what happened in Florida last night gives a lot of people pause, because the Democrats still seem to be out of sync with themselves. Andrew Gillum, first black man to run for the governorship of Florida. Bernie Sanders, progressive, 100% on looking out for Medicare and Medicaid expansion for all $15 an hour, universal, well, of course, the universal health care situation. And because he's taken all of these stances, he actually beat out 3 other Democrats that the established wing of the party were looking to take the lead on that. So why is that important? Because Governor Cuomo is going to debate Cynthia Nixon tonight. Cynthia Nixon is an avowed progressive herself. Governor Cuomo, 2 terms in office, is looking for a 3rd term. I'm very much interested to see how that debate goes tonight, because I want to know how far to the left can Cynthia Nixon drag Governor Cuomo, if she's able to do that. Now, here's the deal. I don't want to count this young woman out just yet, because she doesn't have that much money. She has name recognition, but he's got the power, he's got the dough, he has the backing of the Democratic Party. But down in Florida, that was a similar circumstance that happened with Andrew Gillum. He only had $6 million in his war chest to work with, whereas the people who were running against him had a combined $90 million, and he still won with a progressive message. So the Democrats have still got a little bit of homework to do, a little bit of cleaning up to do before they could call this a major win. And they're going to have to find a way to come together as a one party before it's too late.
Well, I think you talked a little bit about this here. You talk about on the GOP side, you know, the question is, how are things going to play out for them, given the fact the Trump factor playing into the midterm elections. Some people say that the president already has his base and nothing's going to knock that, and things are going to be business as usual. On the Democratic side, though, you also find that a lot of the Democratic base is now being challenged as well.
Exactly.
We saw in this area Joe Crowley, who was expected to be, you know, hands down winner.
Shoo-in, absolutely.
Right. He now gets upset. Is there something that is brewing in America that maybe more people need to be paying attention to?
Bottom line, I think one of the reasons why the progressives are beginning to have some decent showings is because people in America, whether you're white or black, whether you're red or blue, people are tired of being poor. They're looking for somebody who's going to deliver not a decent minimum wage, but a living wage. There is a difference between that, and that shows in the expansion of, well, the shrinkage of the middle class and the expansion of the struggling class, because a lot more people are struggling. And again, it has nothing to do with the blue state versus red state. If you are poor in New York, you're poor in California, poor, you are just poor. And so there is a move right now, and I have a feeling that Florida could down in Florida, because the young man who won last night for governor is going to be going up with a Trump candidate. Trump put his hand on the scale for DeSantis, and DeSantis is fully along with Trump's propaganda and his program. So we're going to actually see a a race that to determine which way this country is really thinking, and that's the focal point. That's going to be really important to see.
Traditionally a red state, but anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Well, look what's happening in Georgia right now. We have a black woman who's going to be running for the first time, and could have a very, very strong possibility. The Republicans are so nervous, they tried to shut down 7 of the 9 polling places in a particularly strong black district. And although that was shut down within 6 minutes, they were the council that governs these things shut it down within 6 minutes. The idea that they're so desperate to try is what made it very interesting. And not only that, but President Trump is actually nervous as well, because he's been out there fear-mongering for the last couple of days, talking about, well, if I get impeached, the stock market is going to crash and everybody's going to be poor. If the Democrats lose, it's going to be violence in the streets. So he's out there letting his base know this is what could happen if you guys don't get out and vote and make sure that Republicans keep the House. He really is afraid of what's inevitably going to happen, because if the Democrats do win, impeachment will be on their agenda. No doubt about it. They're saying right now, and keeping very, very cool about it, let's stick with the major issues.
But after November.
But
if
after
they win.
November, it's what the constituents really want.
Right. Lee Bynes, that's what I bring in.
That's what I'm here for.
All right. Our political analyst, Lee Bynes. You can check him here every week here on Open. Listen, stay with us. We got more show coming up. We'll be right back right after this.
Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her walk miles a day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
And we are back here on Open. I want to let you know the Bronx is open for business with the upcoming 18th annual
20th.
Bronx. It's the 20th, huh?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had it wrong. 20th annual Bronx Business Opportunities Expo, which is an event looking for owners to expand their businesses. And here with us is Andrew Hyman, Assistant Director, and pronounce your name again. Evangeline.
Gelladola.
I messed it up the first time she came on the show. I don't want to do it again. Thank you very much for
Yes.
being here, Evangeline.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
So, and thank you for the correction too. You said
Yes.
20 years, and so this has been going on
Yes.
for 20 years. And give us a little bit about what people can expect.
Well, we have over 60 exhibitors this year, and it's all city agencies, state, federal, and prime contractors. That this is the opportunity for small businesses to connect with the key players, to find out what are opportunities out there for contracts, financing, and other services that help their business grow.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the challenges that small businesses are facing right now that maybe we don't know about?
Well, I think in this age of high technology and of computers, small businesses are very much challenged to keep up with the different trends that their customers are making, and to provide good customer service so that they'll get more business.
Mm-hmm. And when we talk about this, 20 years you've been doing this now, what's the difference this year and how have things changed this year with this year's Expo?
Well, the difference is, we have more opportunities for small businesses, every year is a different projects, there's a lot of construction projects, there's a lot of opportunity out there for them, and there's a lot of process that they have to do. That's why we're here to help them, and we connect them to this, the prime contractors, the city agency, the representative that there are buyers, so, sometimes when you call these people, they don't answer the phone, so it's better to connect them or to meet them in person.
And talk about the success of this, because obviously doing this long, there's been some great success, particularly for businesses, having the opportunity to meet up with, city officials and those people with regards to contracts.
Well, there's great opportunities for small businesses to pick up city, state, and federal contracts. And part of that is the commitment of the different administrations to increase the minority and women-owned business enterprise participation. The state right now has a 30% goal, so that 30% of the dollars that are set aside for contracts are supposed to go to minority and women-owned business enterprises. The city is going to have the same goal coming in the year 2021. They will also have a 30% goal. And with all the money that city, state, and federal government spend, there are great opportunities for small businesses to expand.
And when we talk about what some of the challenges are for small businesses, what are you hearing on the other side from city officials, contractors, things like that, in terms of the Expo?
It's actually, one of the major challenges that I notice about small businesses is financing. The credit. The credit is not the greatest, but we have in this Expo we have a lot of representative that can help them with the credit repair, because I noticed also that, you need to have that financial capacity to
be able to do business.
Yeah, you have a contract of 1.5 million. If you don't have that money to pay up front, the agency doesn't pay you in 5 days or something like that. It takes time sometimes. Right. So you have to have the upfront capital to pay your employees.
Now, before we go, ask about we want to know about the day and the time. Please let our audience know exactly what day, what time, and who can come on in.
September 6th, from 9:30 to 2 o'clock. It's going to be at 463 East, 149 Bronx, New York, MCNY College of New York, Bronx campus. It's going to be a great opportunity for the public to attend. It's free and open to attend, so why not come out and attend this business expo? It's gonna be, we have the Assemblyman Michael Blake as our speaker and Janelle Doris from Mayor's Office of Contracts. So this is your opportunity, guys, to meet these key players. Come join us. It's gonna be fun and very informative event.
And we're especially thankful to Metropolitan College of New York, which is, with their special common space, is going to be hosting us for the second year in a row. And we're
third year.
Third year in a row?
This is the third year.
Okay.
And also we are thankful for our sponsors, especially Can Edison Diversity Program and New York City School Construction Authority.
Well, thank you guys for coming and sharing with us, and we appreciate you. Best wishes on the 20th. And that we hope that all goes well and people come out and take part. You saw the flyer, so you know how to get connected to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, listen, we want you to stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We got more open coming up right after this.
Coming soon, every New Yorker will have a chance to help shape New York City's future. The 2019 New York City Charter Commission needs your ideas to create a better charter. In 1897, the charter, our city's constitution, was created to control how the city spends our dollars, how decisions about our neighborhoods are made, and the power of our elected officials. It's time for a fresh look, a top-to-bottom review. The 2019 Charter Commission needs New Yorkers to attend public hearings and share ideas that will shape how our city looks and runs in the future. We've already heard from New Yorkers who want the Commission to look at how to increase civic participation, how land is developed, and to evaluate the balance of power within city government. Think big picture and tell us what needs to be changed about our city government. Changes you will vote on in November 2019. Share your thoughts about how to make the best city in the world even better. Visit our website at www.charter2019.nyc to check local hearing dates and submit proposals online. You can also tweet us your ideas at Charter 2019 NYC. Let's work together to shape our city's future.
Welcome back. The Charter Commission NYC is preparing for its 5 public hearings in September. Now, the New York City Charter Revision Commission is tasked with the broad mandate to conduct a top-to-bottom review of the city's constitution. Now, the initial phase, which consists of a series of hearings to be held in each borough, starts with a first hearing scheduled for September the 12th. And here now to tell us more is James Vacca, the Bronx appointee to the New York City Charter Revision Commission. He also is a district leader. He also is in the city council. And I haven't seen you in years, but it is great to see you.
Good to see you, Daren.
How you been?
It's great to be back. I've been on your show many times, but not recently. So
I know.
It's great to be here.
Good to be here. Good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
So talk to us a little bit about this here.
Well, the Charter Revision Commission of the City of New York is going to be reviewing the city charter from top to bottom. You know, the city charter is basically the constitution of New York City. It empowers all of our elected officials, all the commissions, all the agencies. And we haven't had a top to bottom review of the commission since the 1980s. So I'm here as the Bronx member appointed by Ruben Diaz, the borough president, and this whole commission was appointed by Corey Johnson, the Speaker of the Council. Wow. So we're going to be taking a serious review of the charter. How can we update it? How can we look at land use? How can we look at making sure that there is an equal distribution of facilities within the city once the city cites them? How can we make elections more efficient and get more participation? We're going to be looking at a whole host of things, and I have some things in mind as a longtime Bronx person.
Yeah, I was trying. I'm going to get the exclusive right now. You're going to tell me this, right? So, what part are you particularly looking at, and what part are you most concerned with?
Well, I'd like to really look at how we have local engagement. Community boards, and I was a district manager for 26 years. Community boards need to be heard. Local neighborhoods need to be empowered. Now, is the structure we have in place a type of structure that empowers people to have a real voice in their local neighborhoods? How do we make citywide officials more effective? Do we understand that we now have a system of runoff voting for our citywide elected officials? So if you don't get 40%, there's another election. But the reality is that even when you have the first election, there's low participation. In the second runoff, there's even less. So maybe we should have a system of second choice type ballots where people, when they vote the first time, can rank their preferences so that there is no necessity of a second election costing the taxpayers a lot of money and having such a low turnout. I want to look at why certain agencies are not performing. Our city services in the Bronx are not being delivered the way they should be. We need more responsiveness, accountability, and transparency. So how do we get that? So I hope to bring my knowledge of city government to the commission as a voice not just for the Bronx, but as you know, I served in the council for 12 years. I was head of the Committee on Transportation, Technology. I was in the leadership. So I think that I bring a perspective that's going to be good.
Got a little knowledge, I might think.
A little knowledge.
But, so after you take a look at this, you see what needs to be done, right? You guys are getting together. What does the process go from there?
Well, we're going to be having public hearings in every borough. We want to hear from people about how they view the charter and how they would like us to proceed. What changes would they like? Now, the mayor had a charter revision commission. They're going to have 3 ballot questions on the ballot in November. Our commission is much more inclusive. It has appointments not just from the mayor, but from the borough presidents, public advocate, and controller, and the council, of course. So we're going to be taking a more holistic view of the charter. How can we effectuate meaningful change? And we're not limiting ourselves to 1 or 2 areas. Our mandate is to review the structure of city government.
Let me ask you this question. How familiar are New Yorkers, A, with the charter? I mean, we're talking the average New Yorker probably doesn't know about the charter, and B, as a member of the commission, how do we get more people become active in knowing about the charter and getting that input that you so desire?
Well, our Charter Commission has a public engagement unit which is going to be going out and speaking at community boards, at civic associations, at colleges. So we're going to have that type of engagement. We have a website now up. We have Twitter. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff reaching out. And these public hearings, of course, are the catalyst. I want people to come once they see the announcements of the hearings. I want them to come to those hearings. But I think that the city charter is a work in progress now that we have the Mayor's Commission and we have, I think, a more a commission in totality that will be looking at the charter. And I want people to understand that how city government works, this very technical thing called the city charter, affects their everyday life. It affects the quality of life in their neighborhoods. And once we get that understanding, who do we go to with what? How do we get something done? What is the approval process on projects? That's very important because knowledge is power.
So let's let people know again when the opportunity is to come on out for the public hearing in this area.
We're having a public hearing on September 12th here at Lehman College. It's a Wednesday. That's the Bronx public hearing. And then we go into hearings in Queens and the other boroughs. And then we meet, and then we have more public hearings. Believe me, we will be hearing from the public in many, many ways.
And how does this translate into action real quickly? Because people say, listen, we have these hearings, we talk about this. What kind of confidence and assurance did you give people that their hearings and their speaking is not in vain?
Oh, no, I'm telling people that this Charter Revision Commission is going to have referendums on the ballot. They're going to be on the ballot next year, and we're going to arrive at some conclusions, and we're going to be doing it largely based on what we hear and what we think is going to be best for the city of New York going forth.
All right, Jimmy Vacca.
Okay.
My friend and brother, good
Hey,
to see
good
you,
to
man.
see you. Good
we
to
hate to
see
say
you
we've been doing this for
again.
more than 20 years.
We've been doing this a long time.
A long time.
Seems like yesterday.
I know, right? Nothing changes. All right. Listen, taking a quick break. We'll be back with more shows. Stay with us. We'll come right back right after this.
Thank you.
No.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Well, thank you for staying with us. Fashion Week is around the corner, and the Bronx is known for its diverse and colorful sense of fashion. Joining us now is Lora Montes, executive producer of the Bronx Fashion, and Franklin Rowe, designer. We welcome you both.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you. A little excited?
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah.
I love Fashion Month. I really do.
It's exciting.
And so talk to us about it's a month, and then also you have a great culmination coming up this week.
Yeah, this Saturday we're doing Bay Plaza, and we're going to have food, and we're going to have fashion, and we're going to have entertainment, and it's going to be a day of beauty and food, and that's always a good combination.
Yeah, food is good. And
It
fashion.
definitely is.
So talk to us about what we're going to see.
You are going to see some of the most amazing designers. You're going to see Jason Peters, who is going to be combining the art with the fashion. And then you're going to see Nixarelis, who's flying in from Puerto Rico after losing everything after the hurricane. And it's been her dream to be in Bronx Fashion Week. She heard about us 4 years ago. And she reached out, so she's making that dream reality. She's coming. She's flying in today.
Wow.
She's showing some of her best designs. I mean, I call her like the next Caroline Herrera.
All right.
Then we have Charlie Dominguez, which is from the Bronx, and he's going to do art with fashion, and it's beautiful. And then we have the wonderful Franklin Rowe, who's from the Bronx. They're all celebrity designers. I'm very honored that they're going to be at Bronx Fashion Week, and he can tell you about his beautiful designs, and we have amazing performances.
Take it away.
Okay. I knew from my youth that I wanted to be a designer. And first it was cars. I started designing cars because the shapes and the nuances in cars are like clothes to me. To this day, I'm influenced by cars. But on Saturday, I'm showing spring and summer of 2019. And I did some experimentation with, I used Italian stretch leather and suede for men and women. It's just something that's never been done, but it's wearable. It's wearable and it's actually cool for the spring and summer. I wouldn't wear it now because it's a little hot outside, but I did shorts, I did pants, I did Swarovski and blazing shirts. I did, and the women's wear is very fluid and comfortable and sexy at the same time. It's wearable fashion. It's couture, it's slightly avant-garde, but it's wearable. And I don't like to cater to size 0. I think size 0 is the industry standard, which to me is starvation. People got to eat. If you don't have any food in your belly, how are you going to show my clothes off? So, you know, I really don't adhere to that, even though I do have some samples that are size 0 for the size 0 models.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about Bronx Fashion Week. Bronx Fashion Week it's about empowering everyone, especially women. It's not limited to size 0 to size 6. There are women that look like me. I mean, I started Bronx Fashion Week. Who was to say I could do that?
Right.
So that's what it's about, and that's the beautiful thing that these designers bring, that it's not just limited to one thing, it's limited to a whole, you know, so many women and so many men.
And having the ability to be a Bronx designer, being from the Bronx right here, and to be able to share with these other designers, what's it like for you being able to, you know, commingle?
Well, the irony is this is the first show I'm doing in the Bronx in over 20 years.
Wow.
And I lived in Midtown. I worked out of the garment district for like 20 years until the rents became unreasonably high. And this is exciting for me because it's like coming home. And I'm coming home the way when I left, I was using rayon that cost me $2 a yard. I'm coming back with fabrics that I made with my hands that's worth like $250 a yard. So the experience that I garnered, and I've traveled the world. I've had the grace and luck and the work to travel the world because of what I do. And I've never worked for anyone in my entire career, which makes me unjaded. So my vision is a clear vision of what comes out of my head. I don't copy. I look at my archives for inspiration. And that's what I did this season, is the fact that what sold the most? Let's twist it that way, use it this way. If it's sold that way, it's going to sell this way even more. So I copy me.
I hear you. Franklin's going to be there, and we want to show other designers will be there as well. And also, we have an afternoon special. We got some guests and a taste of Bay Plaza that's going to be taking place as well. So we want you to come on out and be a part of it. Please, let's give time and date again for anybody who's watching right now.
September 1st, 3 to 7. Food, fashion, and wine, over 20 restaurants, 4 amazing designers, performances from all over the Bronx. Outside of the Bronx, we are going to rock the Bronx on Saturday.
Amen.
Flora, thank you so much for coming and being with us. Franklin.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so
All right
much.
now, listen, got to take a quick break. We got more shows. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Come right back right after this.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment. A moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, kooky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count, because every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
And we are back. A solo play with 8 characters creates awareness about domestic violence in a scenario that's actually set 20 years from now. Now, Intrusion is a play written and performed by our guest, Qurrat Ann Kadwani, and we thank you so much for being with us.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Good. And so you've been doing this for a minute now.
Yes, I have. I started writing it about 3 years ago, and last summer I decided to rewrite the whole thing. And then the Weinstein case broke loose, and everybody was like, wow, perfect timing. So I play 8 characters in 1 hour to reveal the intricacy behind sexual violence in our country, and as well as globally. I've been performing it at festivals, getting rave reviews. I've been performing it at colleges for various programmings, RA training, Women's History Month, April Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and now it's off Broadway until the end of September. What I love about performing this show is that, of course, it's entertaining. I play 8 characters in 1 hour, but all these people come up to me after the show, audience members, both male and female, college students, and they tell me, they confess to me their personal accounts regarding sexual assault and sexual violence. And I think that's really exceptional because this show has the power to be the voice for people who have been silenced by sexual assault, who feel confused, angry, sad, and just don't know what to do or what resources are available to them to get help.
We're watching you now on screen, and I gotta ask the question, how do you get 8 characters out in an hour?
Well, that's for you to find out when you come see the show. You know, my training is in theater. I have a degree in theater from SUNY Geneseo, and I grew up in the Bronx, so I've always been involved in the arts. Basically, I never leave the stage. I use different props or different articles of clothing, and I use my voice and my body to transform. I'm so lucky to have such rave reviews really commending me on my ability to transform character to character so that you can see how this event, 20 years in the future, when one person comes forward about their rape, starts to resemble our current society and how this one event affects different sectors of our society. So I play a college student who is moved into action. She starts a candlelight vigil and then by the end is having a full-blown protest. We see the prosecutor, and right now we know that less than 5% of prosecutors even take on rape cases because it's so hard to win. We hear from a psychologist who talks about the psychological aspects surrounding rape and why people do it, and there are various factors surrounding it. We hear from a day trader who is a male character who accounts his dealings with sexual assault, which is really important because, you know, a lot of people feel that sexual violence only has to do with women, and that's just not true. Just as many men experience it as well, it's just that we have a stigma against men coming forward. You know, the stats are, and I include a lot of factual information, statistics, quotes, so that people who come to see the show, audiences, students, you know, of all ages can Google it after the show and fact check me. Over 1 billion people are affected by sexual assault, sexual violence annually worldwide. In America, America is on the top 10 list of offending countries in the world. We have so many people who are affected by sexual violence. The numbers are staggering. Economically, I want to point out that it costs America upwards of $125 billion to deal with programs surrounding sexual violence. So it's in all of our best interest to deal with this problem head on.
Let me ask you, are you hearing more conversation? Is more being said, given the wake of what's happening with the Catholic Church, the scandal, the recent, finding in Pennsylvania of all these priests that have been alleged? Is there more of a conversation now being had?
Absolutely. As we saw last year when we saw sexual harassment in the workplace, we saw #MeToo and #Time's Up movements coming out. I think that more and more people are getting awareness about the issue and are feeling motivated to speak up, and because you are not alone. You know, that's what Intrusion does as well. That's one of the themes of Intrusion, is that it is all around us in every sector of our society, from the top down in politics. Every day we're hearing about another politician who is a sexual predator. We are hearing about it from religious leaders, from professors, college students, athletes, actors. It's everywhere. It's become normalized. And what we're trying to do here with Intrusion, you know, that's what's so beautiful about theater and with art, is that you can allow the audience to see a focused aspect of the issue and then turn it inwards and say, what can I do to make a change?
8 characters in an hour. You can check out the show Intrusion. Now, please let people know when, where, and where they can go.
Absolutely. You can check out my website, intrusonshow.com. That has all the dates. The ticketing is on telecharge, so I'm excited. It's off-Broadway, playing at the St. Luke's Theater on 46th Street and 8th Avenue.
So for somebody who comes and they watch, what is the takeaway that you're hoping that people take away out of this?
The takeaway is that change takes time. Historically, when we see movements, the suffrage movement, the civil rights movement, it took almost a century for change to happen. But that only happened because people were determined. People were focused. They were saying, you know what, we're not going to put up with this any longer, and we're not going to be silenced. We're going to keep fighting until change happens. And that's really the message here. The message here for survivors of sexual assault is you don't need to feel shame. You don't need to feel confusion. There are many organizations out there that can provide support for you, and we need to come together to tell the world that we are going to take power away from those who are abusers. We keep electing politicians who are sexual predators. Let's take the power back into our own hands and say, when it's time to go vote, we're not going to vote for those predators anymore. The religious leaders, let's start removing them too. We are not going to tolerate sexual abuse with any type of religious leaders. In the corporate world, no, we're going to fire you. You're going to get consequences. And that's a really big part of the conversation surrounding sexual violence, is that even when people are convicted of rape, they don't get time. So there's a problem in the justice system as well. And we need to really take power back into our own hands as individuals in our society and say, every time this happens, every time we see a story about this, and social media is on our side here, we're going to stand up for what we believe in. We're going to share that, and we're going to, when it's time for us to show our power in the polls, we're going to take it back.
Qurrat Ann Kadwani, writer, actress, and you can check her out in Intrusion. 8 characters in an hour. Thank you for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
All righty, good to have you. Listen, stay with us. We do have more show. We'll be right back in a few seconds. Don't go anywhere. Thank you.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
And we're back here on Open. Casita Maria presents Equipo, or Team in English. This is a workshop empowering Bronx youth through the power of the arts. And joining us now is Alexia Núñez Bachmann, who's Consul for Community Affairs, General Consulate of Mexico in New York, and Gail Heidel, Director for Creative Arts Programming. And we welcome you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Good. So give us a little bit more about Forgotten.
Sure. So Forgotten is an exhibition by Mexico City artist Jorge Taliache, and he is going to be flying in on September 5th to start an installation at the Casita Maria Gallery, which is located at 928 Simpson Street. And the exhibition is going to have a temporary mural painted directly on our gallery wall, and he's also bringing with him about 30 canvases that we're going to stretch on site. And all of the imagery references, Mexican culture and Mexican history. And there's also going to be a workshop, which you mentioned before, called Equipo. So the exhibition will open on the 13th of September from 5 to 8, and then we'll have the workshop 2 days later. And this workshop is for 8 to 20-year-olds. You can register online at casitamaria.org. We still have space. And it's going to be a hands-on workshop. And as you mentioned, the focus is about empowering young people through art.
And give us a little bit about what people should be expecting. I mean, what will be actually taking place? I mean, you gave me a little bit about the events, but what should people be actually taking place that people will be like, hey, I really want to be a part of this one?
Yes, I think for the inauguration and opening ceremony on September 13th, they will have the opportunity to have a conversation with Jorge Taliache. He will be there to explain about this amazing exhibition and explore themes of identity, of who we are, and to understand where is our origin and where are we going. So I think it's very important, for the youth to be there and to participate in this workshop.
And I know you're taking a particular advantage. I mean, a particular emphasis on making sure the youth are actually present and coming out to be a part of this. And when we talk about the artists, for those people who really aren't too familiar with the artists, give us a little bit more about the background.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, he's from Mexico City. He uses kind of prehistoric imagery, and correct me with the word alebrijes.
Alebrijes, yes.
So these are magical, mystical creatures that he creates. And then the exhibition focus is this idea of forgotten. He feels that as a people, that we have forgotten the importance of our word and our honor, and he's hoping through the imagery that he depicts in his paintings, that this will be something that, we can reclaim.
So I want to let you know that you can want to be a part of this. Saturday, September 15th, there is that workshop that's taking place from 10 to 11:30. And of course, that's the art workshop. And then Thursday, September 13th from 5 to 8, that is the actual celebration and artist talk, an opportunity to actually talk. So how did this all come about?
Well, our executive director at Casita Maria, Aide Morales, had a previous relationship with the Mexican consulate at her last position. And so when she took over as the executive director for Casita, she wanted to continue that relationship, particularly because the demographics are changing in Hunts Point. So there's a new Mexican population that's has been moving in. So we reached out to the Mexican consulate. They came to visit. Alexia was there during the first meeting.
And from our side, we seek to collaborate with organizations that help empower youth, that help bring services to the immigrant population. And as Gail was saying, there's a growing Mexican immigrant community in the Bronx. More than 70,000 Mexicans live in that county. So we always look to strengthen collaboration with organizations that serve our community.
And raising a voice. I mean, when you talk about 70,000, right here in our borough, that's a big number. So talk about the involvement and really getting those people actively involved.
Yes, we do through the consulate try to do outreach services for our community to let them know about all the area of programs that we have available from them at the consulate, from documentation services, protecting them, talking to them about what are their rights, but also the work that is very important of art, education, and promoting the empowerment of the community to have a better and integrated Mexican community here.
And before we get out, please let people know once again dates, times, so they can come and be a part.
Sure. So you can register for the workshop. That's going to be held on September 15th. It's from 10 in the morning to 11:30. You go to casitamaria.org to register. The opening reception, which is going to be a celebration and artist talk, is on the 13th of September from 5 to 8. Don't register, just show on up. There'll be food, there'll be drink. The artist will be in from Mexico City. He's going to give an artist talk. The Consul General will be there, and he'll be addressing the gallery attendees as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we wish you a wonderful event, and certainly we want our public to come on out and participate. And thank you guys for coming and sharing with us.
Oh, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Oh, not a problem whatsoever.
Thanks
Good to have
so
you.
much.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, we have come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, but most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Files, that'd be Channel 33, or you can watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. For all of us here on the set of Open, I'm Daren Jaime saying take care, God bless, and once again, a special shout out to all those who are watching on MNN, where we are live simultaneously every Open show. Reno will be back with you on Friday. We'll see you soon.